Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know that it's lunchtime and you're all hungry, but let's be here for the keynote speaker. We have to introduce an esteemed guest, Ms. Sumita Dawra. She's dedicated her life to public services, and she's also the Special Secretary for Government of India and the Logistics Department, Department of Promotion of Industry, Internal Trade, DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. She became an IS officer in the year 1991, and she's from the Andhra Pradesh cadre of India. She is currently the Special Secretary in the Logistics Division of DPIIT, and also in charge to implement PM's Gati Shakti mission, which is a flagship program by the Prime Minister of India. Earlier, from the year 1993 to 2008, she served in various districts of Andhra Pradesh. It's a state in India, and she did several welfare programs at district levels and state levels. After that, she was posted to Beijing for a PRC program as the head of economic wing from 2011 to 2014. After completion of her tenure as a special secretary in Beijing, she was the principal secretary for the Department of Higher Education in Government of India, and later she became a principal secretary for the Department of Transport for Government of India for building roads and logistics. While on deputation in UNICEF in India, she did several programs for UNICEF and Government of India. She's also having 2 degrees in public policy and also having an MPhil degree in economics. She's currently serving as a board of several public sector undertakings, also investment firms. She's also written 2 books on national and international public policy. Ms. Dawra, I would like to call you here. Guys, where the energy? Come on. So she'll speak from the podium.
A very good afternoon. Not the best time to give a keynote address at lunchtime, and it's almost 2 o'clock. A lot of you would have been sitting here since morning and attending the various sessions. Anyhow, here I am, and I will talk about the topic which has been given to me on accelerating manufacturing through technology. First of all, I'm very happy to be here. The Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, the India Summit. I do understand that this brings together a lot of young entrepreneurs from many countries, about 40 countries from different parts of the world, and they exchange their ideas. It's a very important moment for us here in India when India has assumed the G20 Presidency, and it's a moment of great pride as a nation to be hosting this summit for the young entrepreneurs. Secondly, coming to the topic and the address on accelerating manufacturing through technology is a topic of interest to entrepreneurs and countries across the world. As we all are aware, for manufacturing to be competitive, it's very important that the logistics ecosystem is efficient and cost-effective. We in India have manufacturing programs such as Make in India. We also have investment facilitation agency at Government of India level, which is the Invest India. I was just seeing the pavilion of Invest Saudi, which is also an investment promotion agency. In all the states of the country, we have investment promotion agencies for domestic and foreign investment. We have programs such as the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme, which is another flagship program of the Government of India to promote global champions in manufacturing. And similarly, we have a lot of policy interventions, a lot of reforms have taken place to bring about more manufacturing, more competitive manufacturing, also accelerate the growth of ancillary industry, the MSMEs, and to attract global supply chains, global value chains into the country. In short, a lot of effort, a lot of reforms, focus on the reforms has been there to create global manufacturing giants in the country, to make in India for the world. Now, with so much emphasis on manufacturing, we do realize infrastructure is a very important growth driver for manufacturing, for the growth of the economy and the development. In this context, Government of India has committed itself to a huge capex push. If you see the latest union budget, a huge capex push, a historic level, has been given to investing in various components of infrastructure, the railway, the road, the ports, connectivity, renewable energy, power, telecom, and so on. With infrastructure as a growth driver, to support the logistics ecosystem and to support the investments in manufacturing, we would like to be sure that the investments in infrastructure and the planning of infrastructure is taking place in an appropriate manner. What would be an appropriate manner to plan infrastructure? Whenever you have an intervention in the form of an expressway or a railway freight line, it is important to ensure that it is giving connectivity to manufacturing centers, economic clusters in the hinterland. It is connecting them to the ports. The manufacturing centers are connected by roads, by railways, by inland waterways to coastal shipping, and so on. So multimodality of logistics infrastructure is very important. Another important aspect is the sustainability, reducing the carbon footprint, bringing about multimodal shift from road to railway to inland waterways, and so on. It's also very important that once a capex push has been committed to infrastructure being a growth driver, how fast are you able to implement, complete your planning and implement your projects? We must have faster planning, reduce the cost of both the planning and the implementation through proper planning. So all these aspects are very important to make sure that the capex push translates into infrastructure and infrastructure supports manufacturing through an efficient logistics ecosystem. Why I gave this long background? To come to the next topic, and that is the main issue I would like to elucidate on, which is the flagship program of Government of India to plan infrastructure, where we use technology. It is indigenous technology. And at the very outset, I would also like to say that we'll be very happy to also handhold and share our experience and the way we are working in planning infrastructure, multimodality, and so on this National Master Plan. The technology I'm speaking about is the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan. It is a GIS-enabled portal with our technical partner BIZAG, which is the Bhaskaracharya Institute of Spatial Applications, Geospatial Applications and Technology, based in Ahmedabad. So they are our technical partners, and we have put together a platform, a GIS-enabled platform. Having put the platform in place, we have enabled the mapping of the assets, infrastructure assets of all the ministries of Government of India, infrastructure ministries, economic ministries, social sector ministries. So what do you have on the portal today? You have a mapping of roads, railway, ports, all railway stations, natural resources, forest area, mining area, the power lines, the telecom assets, the optical fiber towers, the cables and the telecom towers, the ports, everything. So having mapped all that, what do? We have problem statements from the ministries. A ministry, maybe the Ministry of Ports and Shipping, wants to see whether there are any infrastructure last mile connectivity issues to the ports. And that's where all the EXIM traffic comes and goes. So on the GIS portal, the Ministry of Shipping is able to see its major ports. It's able to see infrastructure gaps in terms of a railway connectivity, in terms of road connectivity. If there is a road and there is congestion on the road, traffic congestion, then they plan a wider road. If there is a last mile connectivity issue and the railway siding is not there, they plan a railway siding. And that is how the investments of the concerned ministries is also guided. So if the railway ministry has to make investments, the capex push I was talking about earlier, they will keep in mind the comprehensive port connectivity plan which we have put in place on the Gati Shakti National Master Plan. Similarly, if the Ministry of Roads has to plan an expressway, let us say an expressway of about 300 to 400 kilometer. I will give an example of the Pune-Bangalore expressway, which is more than 400 kilometers. So when they plan that expressway on the National Master Plan, what does the ministry see? The ministry sees the terrain, it sees it sees Pune, it sees Bangalore, it sees all the economic manufacturing centers between these 2 points. It sees the forest land, it sees the inland waterways, the railway tracks, and so on. Now the road ministry will plan the expressway without duplicating existing infrastructure, without intersecting the mining areas. It will see where are the economic centers so that the alignment is optimum and gives maximum connectivity to the existing economic townships, to the manufacturing areas, and it also gives connectivity to the areas of culture, tourism, social infrastructure. It could be big educational institutions where there are last mile connectivity issues. So this one infrastructure will make sure it connects multimodal, brings about multimodal connectivity with the railway systems, existing inland waterways. It minimizes the coverage of forest area. In fact, when this highway was planned, it was planned in a way that it reduced the forest coverage by 20%. So 20% less forest area was covered. That meant less clearances from the forest people. It meant a more sustainable approach, a more climate-friendly approach to planning infrastructure. So I've given you 2 examples. I could give more. Maybe I can give you 1 or 2 small examples. We have planned a big solar energy center, generating center in Ladakh, which is in the northernmost part of the country. So the solar power is harvested and generated, and it is brought all the way up to Haryana, which is in the northern, almost the center or the heart of the country. And the distribution line for this solar energy system is again planned on the Gati Shakti National Master Plan. Now, you would think it's just a route alignment, but it is not. Because again, what does this distribution line encounter along the way? It encounters forest area, it encounters bridges, it encounters areas where oversized cargo is already moving. So it has to be planned in a way that it is able to take care of all the intersections. Now, when this work is happening, it is happening on the portal. We are using digital surveys, which has really revolutionized the planning process. It has cut down the need for detailed field surveys, because we have information of all the concerned ministries on the portal. And we are able to plan on the portal, sit around, all the officers sit around, and they are able to plan in a shorter period of time. The Ministry of Roads, in the last 1.5 years since the technology has been launched by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, in October 21, in the last 1.5 years or so, the Ministry of Roads has already planned about 7,500 kilometers of expressway using this approach. The Ministry of Railways has planned 13,500 kilometers and more of railway line using the National Master Plan. What I'm trying to say is that it is already extensively used, and every big ticket infrastructure project in India, it is mandatory for them to be planned on the Gati Shakti approach, optimizing the principles of Gati Shakti. There have been a lot of outputs. In terms of outputs, I have tried to give a few examples. There is a lot of usage. There is significant usage by all the ministries that are planning infrastructure, and all the 36 states and union territories of the country are using the technology. Many of them are able to produce exemplary use cases on the Gati Shakti portal. I would like to mention two outputs here, outcomes actually. One, as a way of producing, giving you, sharing with you evidence on how the system is bringing about a lot of advantage and benefit. One is, I have been mentioning the Ministry of Railways. In the last financial year, 22-23, the Ministry of Railways could do final location survey for their projects for 400 projects. Whereas in the previous financial year, 21-22, they could do only for about 50 projects. So there is 8 times speed in terms of the final location survey, which the railways is able to do. That means accelerated planning, accelerated investments, accelerated benefits to the manufacturing locations in terms of logistical ease. This is one example, one evidence I wanted to share. Second evidence I'd like to share is from the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which is planning all its pipelines pertaining to petroleum, natural gas on the Gati Shakti National Master Plan. They are reducing forest area coverage, getting the best alignments, and able to connect the economic centers. They have informed, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas has informed that they have been doing detailed surveys which require 46 reports and used to take 6 to 9 months. But today, using the Gati Shakti technology, they are able to do it in hours. They just need a single clip of the Gati Shakti portal, which has all the GIS mapping, shows all the intersections, all the relevant information pertaining to the terrain, and helps them plan in a matter of hours. So I wanted to share these examples, evidence. We have a lot more from the various infrastructure ministries, but for the purpose of this keynote address, I thought I will share just 2 examples of how it is bringing benefit to the planning process. So we have also been focusing on last mile connectivity issues. Like I mentioned, we have the comprehensive port connectivity plan, and their Government of India has put a high amount of money in the recent union budget just for last mile connectivity projects. So the various benefits of the Gati Shakti technology, to summarize, are the data-based decision making, the digital surveys which are revolutionizing the planning process, reduction in time taken for preparation of the detailed project reports, de-risking the investments, whether they be foreign investments or domestic investments. Once the investor is able to see the connectivity to the location and whether it fulfills his or her requirements, it de-risks the project. And our upcoming projects are also shown. Project governance becomes easier, more effective on the tech-enabled platform. Various risks connected with project planning are reduced, and we are able to undertake comprehensive planning with both economic and social requirements in mind, bringing about both ease of doing business and ease of living for the citizens. Some of our states have been using extensively using the technology to plan the location of new schools, so that the new schools are closer to roads, closer to habitations, have electricity connection, because as I said, the power lines are also mapped, internet connectivity, so all the amenities are there, the attributes of the population are there, so they can plan where the children are, they require easier access to schools. So this is just one example of a social sector usage of the technology. We are also using it in agriculture and so on. Maybe we can interact more later. Now we are going in for area development approach as a holistic approach for every infrastructure project which is planned on the Gati Shakti portal. Now I would also like to mention two more technologies before I end my keynote address. These two technologies are also being used for ease of logistics for manufacturing. One is the ULIP, which is the Unified Logistics Integrated Platform. We have brought together 33 digital services of various ministries of Government of India, which could be related to customs, could be related to transport services, could be related to railway freight movement, could be related to GST related issues. All the services have been brought together for the ease of business people, for the ease of manufacturers. When they want to see, they want to track and trace their movement of transportation of their material, whether it is raw material or finished products. They want to authenticate the credentials of the driver. They want to deal with custom clearances. So it's a single digital platform which has been created for the ease of logistics services for the manufacturers. And we have a significant number of businesses already using the ULIP platform for ease of logistics and for authenticating documents and various digital related payments. A third digital technological intervention I'd like to mention here is the logistics data bank. Logistics data bank is a very simple concept which has been enabled using technology. Again, these are all indigenous technologies, where we track 100% EXIM containers in the country, 100%. So about 60 million EXIM containers have been tracked since the launch a few years back. In 2016, we launched the Logistics Data Bank. And each and every container is tracked using RFID technology. And we are also integrating the information at the toll gates, which captures information of movement on roads. We capture information from the railway freight tracking system, from the ports, from the port community services, from the customs. All this information comes together for tracking of the containers, and we are able to tell in almost real time where are the containers as they move through the ports, the customs, the freight stations, the ICDs, and we are able to maintain performance benchmarks. We are able to give monthly reports on the productivity of the various ports in the country, quarterly reports, yearly reports, and interestingly, the World Bank in its latest report on Logistics Performance Index has highlighted Logistics Data Bank as a very effective technology which India is using to reduce the dwell time of containers at the ports. So this is one unique technology where we are using big data analytics, which is using the integrated inputs from the various systems to enable the manufacturers track and trace the movement of the EXIM containers. So as I said, the World Bank has also lauded this, and India's dwell time at the ports is now, it has leapfrogged that of many developed countries. Our average dwell time at around three days at the ports is lower than that of UAE, which is 4 days, lower than that of Singapore, lower than that of US, which is at 7 days, and lower than that of Germany, which was seen to be around 10 days. The period for which this dwell time has been seen is May to November 2022. in 139 countries which were studied by the World Bank for Logistics Performance Index 2023. India is at 38th position, and now with the use of our technologies such as the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, the Unified Logistics Interface Platform, ULIP for short, and the Logistics Data Bank, LDB for short, we hope to improve our position further, because when we were ranked 38th, all our technologies were not taken into account, as it's a perception-based index. So with these words, I would like to complete the keynote address and wish you all the very best for your discussions. All of you have a key role to play in the ever-evolving global scenario, and young minds, fresh talents with great potential. We have hope in you to take the world agenda for development and growth forward. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Ma'am, thank you for sharing your insights, your time, and your valuable insights on this subject. Your talk has not only broadened everyone's understanding on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti mission and how the government is working and made several programs to interlink and make India a global logistics leader. Thank you. Alex, I would request you to present a gift for ma'am.